All right, everybody, this will be warning to all politicians and running for president 2024, part 142A, we'll call it. Just some things I left out that I didn't fit in the last one. The failure of the Republicans. During this past summer, when there was rioting and looting going on, this Dim Lemon, whoever, said, oh, it's just don't think of it as violence, because think of it as it's our Boston Tea Party, etc. They had no problem with violence and people dying, etc. Now all of a sudden, they've got no problem calling in the police and the National Guard and everybody else. They wouldn't do it all summer long. They like having the police there to protect their asses. But while your communities were being burned and looted, etc., while all that crap was going on, they didn't give a shit, did they, America? They didn't call for, they wouldn't let the cops do their jobs. They wouldn't let the National Guard, anything the president did, he was inside. He was making it worse. If he even talked about it, he was making it worse. But when it's their political asses, and the Republicans barely did shit all summer long, so I'm not surprised they have had very little to say to stand up to the Democrats during this election stuff, and more or less going along with it. Because let's face it, Trump pissed a bunch of them off too. So, and rightfully so, I would say, in a lot of cases. So all you people who have such a problem, especially you people in the media, and you Republicans especially, you ought to think about this. I have no doubt that during the real Boston Tea Party, I have no doubt that during Lexington or Concord, or the meetings of people like Jefferson and Thomas Paine and others who were discussing revolution, I have no doubt you wouldn't be just like you are right now. Oh, this is a sad day. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Oh, there's no need for this. I have no doubt that a lot of the Republicans right now who are making statements about and denouncing Trump and the protests at the time of the Boston Tea Party would have ran to the British. I have no doubt. They would have jumped ship. They would have jumped ship at the shot heard around the world. Your people with no spines. Like I say, we're a lot bigger than we were then. And we're even a lot bigger than we were in the 1800s. A revolution or a civil war now would not be the way. There'd be so much loss of innocent life. You'd have so many people fighting for power. In fact, the military would probably have to take over the country. And who knows where it all would lead. So like I said, all you can do is demand of these people and let them know that they're not untouchable. You will vote them out of office. You will have investigations done. You will hold them. You will hold their feet to the fire. And you got to demand that they fix the election system. But you look at Iraq, Syria, where we've done injustices, and oh, you're blaming the military. I ain't blaming the military. They just did what they were ordered to do. It's the politicians. You know, it's like when we invaded Iraq the second time. You know, I was Republican then. And when I objected to it, right away I was branded by quote-unquote Republicans. And I was more conservative than they were. Oh, you must be one of them liberals, this and that. I'm like, no, this ain't right. Those people didn't do anything to us. They didn't have nothing to do with 9/11. And there's something fishy about 9/11 anyway. Why the hell are we going to Iraq? So maybe this is going to be, maybe this will all go over the cliff here. Who knows? Because, like I said, we've been talking in past ones. You know, whether you're Christian, Jesus said you reap what you sow. In, you know, Hindu and Buddhism, it's karma. So you look at the chaos that was, you know, done in all those countries, all the civilian deaths, and what have you, the total ruining of those countries. Look at all over. Maybe this, you know, I know a lot of people, well, we're God's country, that's bull, you know. Maybe it's some sort or form of divine retribution. What goes around comes around. Maybe we're about to learn a hard lesson. About having might and wealth like we do. And learning it has to be used properly. Could be. I don't know. It could be. And there's a lot of people going to disagree. Well, you know, like the preacher, God's a God of war. You know, that jackass even told his congregation, you don't need to worry about nuclear war. Because before the bombs blow, you're going to be raptured up in the air with Jesus. I got news for you. Ain't none of you going anywhere. You ain't going anywhere, Jack. You keep listening to those fools like that. Go ahead, keep listening to them. That God only cares about us in Israel, and that's it. We can trample the rest of the world and treat people like shit anywhere around the world, especially if they're of a different religion or different race. You know, there's going to be no consequences. Keep believing that horse shit. Keep believing that horse shit. And see where it leads this nation. You can't be like that. People used to look to this nation because we were fair, because we were honest, because we stood up for what's right. But we took the good that we did in fighting Hitler in World War II, and we allowed the wrong people to get into power, war hawks, greedy people. You know, someone's, you know, the Federal Reserve and the banking system, all that stuff. Throw anything you want to in there. However it happened, you know, all you can do is praise that, you know, the good we have done over the years will somehow garner us some sort of mercy for the evils that were done under the Bush Jr. administration. You know, it's just people don't pay attention to things going on around them. They don't put two and two together. They, you know, especially on the right, the evangelical right, they all talk about blessings and cursings and this and that and everything. They don't ever apply them to themselves or to the people they support. Now you get a free hand. God's a God of war. You know, and there's just as many war hawks on empire building and people who want to change nations around the world on the left. Hillary Clinton and Obama and them, they were no different than the Bush administration. They just played their hand differently. More hocus pocus. What's that song? I'm going to forget who does it. It's the Knights in White Satin. Who the hell did that song? I know the band. It's a big band, famous band. But isn't it in that song? You know, just what the truth is, I don't know anymore. When the people can't trust their government, either party, every single one of you politicians needs to go look in the mirror and you need to know it's your fault. It ain't the people's fault. It's your fault. The way you do things. All your closed doors, secret bullshit, lining each other's pockets. Even in state level, you know, city council, all that shit goes on. I'm telling you, people out there right now, have no doubt that there was politics played with this virus. There were treatments, doctors, all kinds of physicians coming out and saying, hey, if you take these drugs here or whatever, you know, hey, it might even prevent you from getting COVID. Anyone who, and that's the thing with them controlling all the media, because you didn't see that in the mainstream anywhere. You only found that sometimes and YouTube's even closed a lot of stuff down, and Twitter and all that. The only place you find it is YouTube, and it's too easy for them to relegate anything on YouTube. Well, that's just a bunch of quackery. That's a bunch of conspiracy theorists. You know, and I think that's probably why the news media has been all in on a lot of stuff, is because, you know, just like Democratic Party saw it was losing so many minorities to the Republican Party, they had to come out, you know, they had to play the race thing every single chance they got. Every cop shooting, anything. They had to play everything was racism. Because they were losing so many African Americans to the Republican Party. So then I'm sure the news media also saw, hey, we're losing, because they all need to make money, don't they? We're losing all these people to alternative types of news. We can't have that. We have to have it to where we run the show and everybody else is quackery or conspiracy theory. And at the same time, you have the NDAA and all that and everything, which Trump tried to not have part of the budget and all this and everything be renewed. But in there, and it's part of, you go back as far as Dick Cheney, full spectrum dominance. What part of those words don't you get out there? Full spectrum dominance. That means control of everything. Everything. And of everyone who objects to it. Full spectrum dominance. It's not just about the military having the best weapons on land, on the air, in the sea, and up in space. Like they always say, winning hearts and minds. Full spectrum dominance. Which means controlling things to such a point that they can manipulate you and attitudes and passions and what have you any way they want to. And I have no doubt that a lot of the Arab Spring stuff was dry runs or test runs. Using social media. You know, I would have no doubt that there's people in the BLM and in Antifa and stuff like that who take their orders from some intelligence agency or something, and they put out their tweets and their Twitters, and they're going to meet and they're going to go. I have no doubt there's puppet masters manipulating things all the way through. Have no doubt. So no matter what side you're on, I'm going to ask you one more time. What part of the words full spectrum dominance don't you get? And you wonder why the media jumped all over Trump when he was asked whether he trusts the intelligence community or not, and he said no. And how they're all over him on that. And then the impeachment stuff and everything. All that crap. Full spectrum dominance. Look here. When you're driving down the road and you're getting ready to listen to a sports program, it's going to talk about football. All right. And the sports guy. All right. A sports guy says, well, too bad we can't talk about tonight. That I guess we're going to have to talk about this going on in Washington. I'm sorry, what? Why the fuck would anybody care? I mean, it's the same. Look at the TV shows, late night TV shows. Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, Fallon, all commenting tonight on the Capitol and all that and everything. If there's, I'll tell you what, if you want to pick 3 people you'd like to punch in the face, think about it. There's 3 I'd like to punch in the face. Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, and Jim Lemon. I can't watch them. I can't, not even for a minute. Not for a friggin' minute. They are so sickening that it's unreal. And I'm not a violent person. I'm not. But, you know, just the gloating and everything else, and it's like, you know, if anything, I was hoping, you know, and I believe Trump did win the election. You know, if you believe Pennsylvania, that many votes went to Biden, in that short of time, overnight and everything, you know, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona I want to sell you. And they know it. They freaking know it. They would never admit anything suspicious about that. You know, I could have more respect for those guys. Hey, Jimmy Kimmel, don't you think it's just a bit odd? Don't you think there's something just really fucking odd about you go to bed, Trump is up by 100,000 something whatever votes, and you get up and he's losing by twice that much? Joe Nobody fucking Biden, who can't put a sentence together without cue cards or teleprompter and stuff, can't, you know, wins by a landslide, by more votes than any president ever. Nothing suspicious about that, Stephen Colbert. Nothing at all. See, it's the kind of people you are. Even if you thought there wasn't, you wouldn't say it. Ain't no fucking way you'd say it. Ain't no fucking way you'd say it. You'd just rather, you know, gloat and be like, oh, what, the Cheshire Cat or something, you know. I don't know. I don't understand people with that type of mentality. That truthfulness doesn't matter. That honesty doesn't matter. I don't understand that. I really don't. That you would not say, hey, we need to make sure there was nothing fishy going on. We want to win the election, but we don't want it like this. If there was fishy stuff going on, we can't have that. That'd be the American thing to do. Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Dim Lemon. That'd be the American thing to do. To be a stand-up guy and say, look, yeah, we want our guy to win, but not like that. But instead, you kind of treat it like it's a football game. Hey, you really didn't make that reception, or your foot really was out of bounds, but if the refs didn't catch it and the replay didn't catch it, you're not going to say anything, right? We're all taught that as kids playing sports and everything. You know, you're playing Pop Warner, you're playing high school where there ain't no video and no replay and all that. Imagine you maybe the ball does skip off the ground, you know, you're down one of them low catches or something, and you know you didn't catch it. What if the ref ran up to you and said, did you catch that? The honest thing to do would be to say no, but you know your team, your coach wouldn't accept that. Because you teach people to lie to win. And that's what we're seeing now with this election. You teach people that lying is okay from the time they're children. It's all about winning. And that's the way those people who I just mentioned are. They could care less if everything about this election was phony. Their guy won. They would never, even if they had the slightest suspicion, they would never mention it in public. Certainly not on TV. Never, ever. Because lying is okay with most people if it serves their purposes. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. And in many facets of society, it's acceptable. Can you imagine if an NFL player said, no, I didn't catch that ball? You know, if you ran to the ref and said, hey man, I didn't catch the ball or whatever. Can you imagine what the fans would do? Because he didn't lie? Can you imagine the outrage? Because he was honest about something? Now that might be a strange example, I know, but it's the only one I can think of now, right now. As you can see, it's another cold, foggy night, so. But that's the world we live in. If you're to tell the truth and be honest about something, they'll roast you alive. What are you doing? How stupid can you be? What do you... Well, the ref asked. Just lie. I had a fleet manager tell me that one time. Oh, if you get... Just run down there and do this. I'm out of hours. Just run down there and do this. And if you get pulled over, just lie. Say you're on your way to a truck stop or something. I'm like, what? Just lie. No, I ain't doing it. It's not always easy to tell the truth. And it's sad to say that this society teaches our youth in a lot of ways to lie. Parents will even teach their children to lie. Get pulled over for not having your seatbelts on or whatever, you put them on. The officer cop asks, "Did you have your seatbelts on?" "Oh yeah, sure we did." "Yeah." "Uh-huh." All these things going on with these shootings and these scuffles between police and people and stuff and everything. People just be honest. They're all right, No. You're going to lie to the cops, make things worse. Fight with the cops. What have you. Lawyers are going to lie. Families are going to lie because they win lawsuits and want a lot of money. What have you. So, anyhow, like I say, I don't know, maybe it's the best thing to do. Just find a piece of land somewhere. No TV. I hardly watch TV. Because it's all bullshit. It's all the same rehashed bullshit, and they're all pushing some kind of bullshit one way or the other. Half the shows are too vulgar. Anyhow, and it's like you wonder how, it's like that show, Two Broke Girls. There's a lot of stuff they said on that show, and it's like, how are they getting away with this? How are they getting away with this? And a lot of the other shows. And our government does nothing. Not even the Republicans. They don't give a shit. As long as they get reelected and make millions of dollars, they don't give a shit either. So, anyhow, wish you all the best out there. God bless, and I don't know, maybe I'll see you living up in the mountains or somewhere. If you want to drop out like I do, then we're in a fix, ain't we? Get a whole bunch of people drop out, and there goes our solitude. Anyhow, all you can do is pray. Do your best. Be an honest person. Demand honesty from the government. And wish for the best. All right. Adios. We'll see you on the next one.